Hey, ladies.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, good.
Great.
Welcome to Wealthy and Worthy Wednesdays, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
How is
Hello.
everyone doing today?
Good, good,
We
good.
are doing good.
Drop us
Yeah,
some notes in the
it's a good
chat.
day.
Let us know if y'all here tuning in with us. We want to say hi to y'all and send y'all some love.
Yes, yes.
We are thrilled to have y'all join us today. Okay, let me make sure I got my I see it. Okay. Instagram, it'd be making you do all the extra. So
All the work.
right, yeah. Okay, y'all. So we're gonna jump into it today, all right, for Wealthy Worthy Wednesday. So today, ladies, we are talking about ambition. All right.
Mhm.
However, it's not in the way that you may assume, or even in a way that you may be used to hearing about it, right? Because what we want to talk about today is how, for many of you, as high impact, highly capable, highly ambitious women, ambition is actually not your problem. Dysregulation is your problem. And so that's what we want to submit today for your consideration, all right? Because for many of you, you have learned how to be successful or succeed in a state of constant activation. So you're constantly on, you're constantly feeling this kind of sense of urgency or rush, a constant need to feel like you need to be responsive. For some of you, you may even feel this need to constantly prove, right, that you're capable and qualified, right? Over time, as you practice this enough, it starts to feel normal, right? Like just a part of you, right? But what we want to submit to you today is that way of being is not sustainable, because when you are operating from that space, your body can't tell the difference between the pressure you're choosing or the pressure that you're just surviving. And so we want you to be thinking about these things as we kind of go through the conversation today, right? We want you to be reflecting on, are you building success, or are you just simply maintaining through stress or stressful situations? Okay? Because sustainable performance doesn't actually come from pushing harder, it actually comes from being more regulated, right? And when I say regulated, I mean your nervous system is calm and it's not in a fight or flight state. Okay. So it's a space where peace, you recognize that peace is not laziness, that calm is not being complacent, that a sense of stability and kind of anchoredness is not weakness. Okay. So today, we're going to separate nervous system functioning and overload from ambition. Okay, we're going to separate those things out, right? Because sustainable ambition is actually regulated ambition. All right, so we're going to jump into the conversation today, ladies. All right, y'all ready to get started?
Yeah,
That's
let's do it.
pretty.
Let me check out, make sure we got because every week, right? We're here every week for Wealthy and Worthy Wednesday because we want to build more of a connection with you all. We want to invite you all into this new space of being and practicing a new way. But we also are using this time as a way for our community to kind of start gathering and bonding before our live and in-person Wealthy and Worthy event, which is happening this August here in Atlanta.
Yay.
So we want you all to be asking questions, submitting things that are important to you that may be on your heart that we can incorporate either in the show or that we can incorporate in the live event so that you can walk away feeling like you got the answers that you need and the strategy that will be most helpful in moving you forward. All right. So now that my TED talk is done, okay, we're gonna jump into the juicy discussion today. All right, ladies. So when we work with highly ambitious or high achieving women, right? For me, right, I often see there are kind of consistent themes or patterns of where I see women being kind of confused, and they don't recognize this dysregulation. So let's start with Jeannie today. All right. So as we think about mental health and psychological impacts of this dysregulation, what patterns are you seeing that signal that a woman is constantly operating from urgency rather than a groundedness or a sense of calm? And some people may even call it alignment, right?
Absolutely. Sure.
What do you see showing up with the women that you serve?
Generally, women who are displaying the pattern that you described have an anxiety disorder, right? Because anxiety is where we are in this state of hypervigilance, hyperactivity, we're hyper aroused, we're consistently. I say this to clients all the time, especially when they tell me, hey, Jeannie, I'm overwhelmed. I say, it sounds like you're trying to be more than the moment requires of you. There's so much that we as women are. So much that, especially high impact women, right? Where consistently our minds are like 20,000 steps ahead. We're learned and we're planned and we're researched and we're resourced and we're doing all the things consistently. And it's a wonderful thing, absolutely. However, you will always feel overwhelmed when you are trying to be more than the moment requires you to be. And that doesn't mean you don't have 20 things that need to be done. It doesn't mean that there aren't, things on the table that are part of your responsibility to take care of or things that you have committed to doing. It just means that you can't do everything all at once all the time. So generally speaking, mental health wise, women who look to activate themselves in this way and look to be inside of that state of hyperarousal consistently have very, very, very pronounced anxiety disorders. So they are often frazzled, irritable. They have a hard time staying in the moment. So they're constantly trying to drift off into the future and make plans for what's happening in the future. They're not the type of woman who, when they're brushing their teeth, they're just brushing their teeth. They're not the type of woman who, when they're in the shower, they're just present in the shower and allowing for their physicality, for their spiritual, for their presence to just be in one place. They're constantly thinking ahead to where they can be and what they can do and how they can show up more and more efficiently so that they can do more. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like a sneaky thing. Okay. But listen, I totally relate, right? I totally can relate to that because I think for me, it's super interesting because I often hear when you mention like the spirituality aspects of it, right? You guys have heard me talk about this all the time where I always get downloads from the Lord in the shower. Right. And for a long time, I would just be like, oh, that was strange. and, and as I learned to pay more attention, I was like, oh, that is the time when I am just like there. Like I'm in the moment, I'm open, I'm receptive, and the downloads just come like that. And so it's really like it takes consciousness and intention as well to even recognize that that those things are actually happening and occurring. So I love that you raised those points of like inviting women to just kind of be and practice that and not constantly like wanting to calculate what's next, right? Which is really hard to do. I'm like, I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here. Let's see, we got some comments popping up. Wow, be present in the moment and not more than the moment requires. Oh, come on, yes,
Yeah.
You got that. Yeah.
That's so good. But because we're
That's it.
overachievers,
Yes.
we want to do all the things in the same moment.
All in the same moment.
Just be
Yeah.
doing too much.
So much.
Exactly.
Totally and completely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, Talana, how do you see this show up in relationships or maybe even home environments when a woman is just constantly on?
I see it in like how so have you ladies ever been connected with women who are just naturally high energy?
Yes.
Right? They're just always on the go. It's like a rabbit, right? They never slow down. I have a few women in my life that is like that, right? Now I observe and I watch like their home dynamic, and they're always here, there, everywhere. And I'll watch and observe how their children are navigating their busyness, right?
Mm.
The children are on edge, the husband is on edge,
Oh
everybody's
no.
on edge, but mommy is just, and she feels like she has it all together.
Mhm.
And she calls it ambition, or she says, "Oh, I just have a lot of energy, more energy than the average person, right?"
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm watching the dynamic and I'm not like, you may have more energy, but you're dysregulated. Like you are over activated pretty much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the people around her don't really get what she fully needs, or like even as a friend, like if I have something I really want to talk about, if she's too busy, then she's not really hearing me. And I can tell in her responses, I can tell in her physical responses, in her mental responses, or her verbal responses, that she's not really here with me. Right.
Mm,
And so that's kind of how I see like a woman who takes um like ambition and confuses it with the dysregulation. Is
yeah.
not ambition. It is the fact that you feel like your worth lies in what it is that you do.
Mm, yeah.
And the
Yeah.
more I do, the more worthy I am. And that is a lie. And
That's good.
until we pretty much get rid of the old information and start to teach ourselves the real healthy way of going,
Mhm.
right? And that comes with practice, meaning sit your butt down
Absolutely.
sometime,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and actually sit down and ask the people around you, how do you see me? How do I show up in your world? What does
Mm,
that look like?
that's good.
A lot of people will be scared to ask that question because you might have some answers coming back at you that aren't so satisfying.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you want to have productive, happy relationships, I see this a lot too with women older in age who have a disconnect with their children, and their children been screaming at them all their lives that, "Mom, I need you, I need you, I need you, I need more of you." And she's been so busy that now she wants a relationship that was never cultivated.
Ooh, yikes. Now
So
that's ooh, that's mm, that's
that's how I see it show
that's a
up.
bomb.
Yeah.
You just dropped a bomb.
Right.
Okay.
It's real though. It's real life. Like these are the struggles that we see in high
Yeah.
achieving women all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's in business. Business, she may be thriving, right? Because business requires overactivation, a lot of them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And as long as you give them that, they're going to want more and more and more of it.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's true. I
But it's
feel that.
totally different at home because those people truly depend on you. Their well-being is a tie to you and your well-being.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And too, one of the things that I used to always mention this, and I haven't referenced it in a long time, but when I first had my son, I read this study that talked about the health and well-being of a child.
Mm.
This data, okay, I'm putting my Dr. Rogers hat
Data.
on, right?
Data.
When we go to the data, the data is very, very strong and it's highly correlated with the well-being and the health of a child being directly connected to the health and well-being and happiness of the mother.
Yeah, I
Yes.
believe that.
Full stop,
Full
right?
stop.
And so if you are in this dysregulated state all the time and you
Mhm.
perceive that that is your baseline, right? This is the conversation for you to lean into, and lean into not in a form of judgment. Okay,
No.
y'all, we tell y'all this every week. We are nothing we ever share is about shame or blame. It is simply about taking an honest look at where you are compared to where you really like to be, right? And then getting courageous, getting in community, getting support to help you move closer to that goal. Okay.
That's right.
And also I think too, Talana, the point that you raised of like the older women, right, that maybe have their children where they're older and they can self assert themselves and just say like, I don't want anything to do with you because you've been preoccupied this whole time.
Right.
I think I would say to those women that it's okay and that you can begin again. You can start over.
Yes.
and you
Yes.
can build. And also recognizing that it may not be your fault, right? Because many of us were taught to be useful before we ever learned that we were whole.
Mm.
And
Mm.
it's real, okay? It was real in my life, okay? So I'm just gonna put it out there, right? That is many a times our experiences, right? And so, especially as oldest daughters, um,
Mm.
and so because it's not your fault does not mean it's not your responsibility to do something with it and to change the dynamic and to unlearn, right? Those things that maybe were not helpful or are not helpful now in where you are. Okay. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there because I know that some of these kind of points are heavy. They're heavy points and they're landing. And sometimes they can hit pretty hard.
And just to add to that, a lot of the reason why a lot of the adult children, I'm gonna call them adult children because now they're grown, and able to articulate themselves, their true feelings. A lot of the frustration is not tied to the past; it's more tied to how the individual is currently dealing with it, and a lot of it is like um, denial, you know, defensiveness, and things like that. And that's actually a lot of times what keeps the frustration and the conflict going.
Okay. Okay.
So just to piggyback off of what you said, a lot of it has to do with what you're doing now to move forward.
Love Love
Mhm.
that. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Solomon. Okay, so we're gonna pass it off to Dr. J. All right. What does the body experience when
Oof,
a woman is in constant activation over a long period of time? What are you
talk
seeing?
about it.
Yes. So I mean, even down to a physiological level, when you have chronic stress, you have increased cortisol, and increased cortisol affects so many parts of our body. It affects our endocrine system, so it affects the ability for the pancreas to even secrete insulin, right? And so what does that do? That creates more sugar in your blood for longer, right? And so you're creating sugar in the blood, and there's nowhere for it to go because insulin is impaired. The job of insulin is to take sugar from the blood and bring it to the cells so that you can have energy, right?
Mm.
But if cortisol impairs insulin's job, then glucose is just hanging out in the bloodstream without providing you with
Any
the
place to
energy that
go.
you need to do your job, right? To
Okay.
do whatever you need to do. All right. So that's what happens. Now, the other thing is with increased cortisol, it impairs your sleep. Now, when you sleep, your cortisol becomes restored, right? And so during when at the time that you wake up, your cortisol is at the lowest, and then it increases during the day, right?
Okay.
And then when you get ready for bed, it comes back down to its nadir, to its lowest
Okay.
point, right? Now, if you have impaired sleep because of stress, then you are having increased cortisol spikes while while you need to be sleeping, right? And so
Mm.
your cortisol doesn't get a chance to recover and come back down, right? So because
Mm,
you now in this constant elevated cortisol state where, because you have lack of sleep, there is no chance for cortisol to recover, to come back down to its nadir.
okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
so you're walking around with higher than normal cortisol levels during the day than
Mm,
you would have if you were not sleep deprived.
Wow.
Right. And then the other thing is with being in a chronically stressed state, it increases our hunger hormones. And so what happens
huh.
is it sends a signal to your brain saying, I'm hungry, I need to eat, because your body is sensing danger, right? And so it's like, I your cortisol is impacting your hunger hormone, sending a signal to your brain saying, I need to eat because I need energy, right? Even though you could have eaten and you felt sufficient, but you have increased cortisol that is impacting your hunger hormone, telling your brain that you need to eat, therefore increasing your appetite, therefore increasing your fat stores. And so this is how, from a hormonal perspective, is what is happening physiologically when you're under a constant state of stress. Now,
Wow.
the the goal is what you want to get to is what we're talking about right now, is getting to a point of, you know, emotional regulation, right? And so um and I find it, you know, sometimes as high achieving women, we think that you know, we should do things in isolation, that we should just do things by ourselves, right? But what happens is when we get in community with other women and we see that we are not alone, that
Yeah.
also helps us to navigate whatever we're going through, you know, in our lives. So let's say that you're in a job and you're like, listen, they're not, you know, they're not paying me enough, and hence this is why you're so stressed out in your job. You know your worth, but you are not getting paid for what you're worth. But you meet another woman and she's like, you know what, I negotiated and hence I'm making this now, right? That is also going to, you know, help you um in your job and help combat the frustration and the stress that you're feeling. And it's going to you're going to be able to recognize this inner power inside of yourself instead of feeling so defeated and succumbing to the stress, right?
Yeah.
And so when we get in community with other women, or we get into communities in places where we want to be, we're not yet there,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
we're like, oh, you know, this woman, she is where I want to be, and so I'm going to surround myself around people like her because I need to be in that environment. It teaches you what is possible,
Yeah.
right? And it teaches you that your stress is something to overcome because now you are in community with people who are overcomers.
Come on. Come on.
Come on.
So listen. So
I like
listen.
that a lot.
In other words, y'all, for real, community is a strategy for co-regulation.
Yes.
Come on.
Okay.
Yes.
Community is an incredible tool for that. And those of you who insist on going alone, we are specifically talking to you.
And
Because
I got a plug because, you know, we having a live event in August.
yes.
So, so that's a perfect time. If you've been looking for a community, come on.
Come
Come
on.
Get in
on.
community.
Yeah.
We
Come
talking
on in
about
the
it, but
room.
we also being about it too. Okay.
In our room. Yes.
That part.
Yes. And I think, you know, I love that too, that you mentioned that, Dr. J, because I think sometimes people, like I've had even people ask me like if I know you all. And like for me to be able to be like, no, like those are my girls. Like this is my people, right? Like I think it's so beautiful because what I want to I think communicate ultimately is that there is space, right? Like we have this thing that we've built, that we've cultivated, this garden of sorts, right? That we have nurtured and pulled weeds from and dug down in the dirt and got dirty, right? Like together. And so we are now saying, hey, we want that for you too. And we want to invite you and expand that space, right? For you all to come in and be a part of that as well, because we love it here. and we know you will too. So that is definitely the plug. So I appreciate that, Dr. J. Okay, so when we talk about, right, like this constant activation, I want to shift a little bit and talk about the difference between urgency and productivity, right? Because what I see in my work with high impact women is that there's rarely the self-awareness that there is actually a distinction, that the two things are separate, right? It's like everything is urgent, and because everything is urgent, I'm being so productive. Like I am just killing right now, right? But the problem that I see and that I advise my clients on is that when everything is urgent, nothing's really urgent, right? And so how do we pause long enough, right, to recognize that? Where it's like I'm constantly rushing, like y'all, and that when I say this, listen, I don't say it as shade or nothing because I am still learning, as Talana said, and practicing these things myself.
Yes.
Last week, I think it was Friday, my husband was traveling and I had the day by myself. My kiddo was in school. I had the day by myself. I went and I got my hair done. And as I was leaving, I went to this like little cute little shop that I found in our new neighborhood because I'm a Georgia peach now. And so I was like, I want to check out this like cute little place. It was like a salad bar type of place. And so I go in, I place my order. I place my order to go. And I'm like rushing out the door. Something in me was like, where are you rushing to? Like, where are you rushing to? Right. So I was like, you know what, though? We're gonna sit down. So I turned around. I literally was at the door. I turned around. I went back, grabbed a fork, found a table, set up my little station, and got on the phone and called my husband and talked to my husband while I ate lunch. And he was just like, oh, this is awesome. Like, I'm loving to see you, sitting down and enjoying yourself. But I had to tell him, I was like, full transparency, this almost didn't happen. Like, I was like rushing, and so he was like, well, where were you going? And I was like, great question, right? I was going to Costco. Nowhere of significance, right? So we are still learning and growing ourselves in this space and in this way, right? And it is a constant remembering, right? Of I'm here, I'm safe, nothing's that urgent. I don't, as Jeannie said, I don't need to do more for this moment, right? Like I'm chilling. I'm about to sit and eat my salad. Okay. So as we think about that, right? Jeannie, what do you believe are the internal beliefs that drive that need to kind of always be like on the go, producing, proving, showing up, all the things? Like what is the internal story that we tell ourselves that make us act in this like heightened way?
I mean, I think Talana said it really well. I mean, she said there's this idea of that I'm valuable because I'm productive. I've learned to internalize that sentiment, and it's a really tough sentiment, and it gets worse with women. And I'm going to tell you why. Because not only do we internalize this idea that I'm valuable if I'm productive, and we make this very extreme sort of global conclusion about how we can have worth, right? We also have all these conditionals in that. So like society says, okay, we'll validate, it's a conditional approval, right? It's society will say, okay, we'll validate for you that you're successful, but only if you're also not intimidating. We'll validate for you that you're being productive, but only if you're also being nurturing in your productivity. We'll validate for you that you're ambitious, but only if you're still likable. If not, we'll essentially take those things away from you or diminish them, right? I mean, that is the other principles of being a woman inside of this society. And so, yeah, she absolutely is internalizing this idea that the way to be worthy, the way to be valuable is to produce and have these tangible dividends that I can and will do, instead of creating distance and distinction, right? I'm not valuable because I'm producing. I'm valuable and I produce.
Love that.
Right? I'm worthy and I'm productive.
I love that.
And also, I'm going to consistently find, as Dr. J was saying, and you as well, and we all know and understand, networks and communities of women who fully believe in the legitimacy of my success, of my productivity, of my ambition, whether I'm being nice or not.
Right. I love that.
Yeah, so nice, right? Like just we put that out there. And screw likability and screw it not being intimidating. Oh my gosh, if I had $1 for how many times people told me I was an intimidating woman. My goodness, I'd be filthy rich.
Yeah, listen, it ain't my problem. What you think about me is none of my business, okay?
And I don't have to work harder to be taken seriously by you. And I don't have to prove my competency or legitimacy to you. And I don't have to avoid making mistakes so that you can recognize my brilliance. I am genius. I've been genius. It started long ago. Like it's God divinely assigned to me. And I don't need
Love
to do
that.
anything to prove that to you. But this is
Mm-mm,
the psyche of
at all.
women, right? All of these things
Yeah.
have to occur for
Layered.
me to be, yeah, for me to be
Yeah.
legitimized. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that, Jay.
Gotcha, Jay.
And thank you, Penny, for your comment, girl. Listen, Penny back this week. Hey, girl.
Hey,
Hey,
hey.
girl,
So
hey.
Penny said, it is so sad that most of us have totally bought into the hustle culture. We are existing at best, not thriving.
Mm,
Oof.
I feel
Okay.
that daily. I feel that
So,
daily. Mm.
okay, talk about it. Let's talk. Let's go
Yeah.
into it. Talk about it, Talana. What
I
is
feel
the
it daily. When
existing
I
at
say I
best?
feel it daily, I feel it pulling at me
Okay.
daily. And
Mm-hmm.
I have to fight. Not, and I don't want to say fight because I feel like once you have your days in order, it doesn't feel like you're fighting any longer. It feels like tension, right? But when, like, even going on social media, it just feels like people are just always just on the go. What's next? What's posting next? What am I doing next? What is the new business adventure? What should you be doing? Why should you shouldn't be doing this and all that? And I feel like people are just all over the place.
Hmm.
And it makes me wonder, just like Penny Renee, just like she said, this whole hustle culture has
Yeah.
gotten us to the point where no wonder the cases of cancer have increased drastically over the year,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Over the recent years,
Yeah.
right? No wonder ailments are now showing up more than ever. You
Yeah.
know, it's because we have adopted this hustle culture, and if we don't get a hold of it, the what was it, the our life expectancy rate is going to continue to drop. It's already low.
Absolutely.
Lower.
Especially Black
Yeah.
people.
And
Yeah.
changing.
You know
Hmm.
what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, so when I
Yeah.
say I feel it daily, just walking outside and just seeing people, nobody
Yeah.
stopping to say,
Yeah.
hey, how are you? I watch people at the checkout line all the time. They won't even look at the cashier, let alone speak to them.
Yeah.
Eye to eye contact. And I teach my kids all the time because their culture is very much the fast-paced culture without true relationship. And it's
Mm,
like, we got to get a hold of this, guys, because we will be operating like robots in society,
absolutely.
which is
Absolutely.
not good for anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. Okay, let's kick it to Dr. J. So, Dr. J, what do you see when as Penny noted, like when you see that women are just existing at best and not thriving? Like how does that show up in your work?
Yeah. When women are just existing, they are devoid. They are devoid of emotion. They are devoid of an anchor, right? And it's back to Talana was saying is because we will start to emulate what we see in our environment
Okay.
instead of anchoring ourselves to what we want to see in our environment, right?
Okay.
And so it's understanding that we are all creators. We are actually co creators,
Yeah.
right? And so, with our ability to co create, we can create different versions of ourselves. And with creating different versions of ourselves, we have the ability to create different environments. And it goes back to what you were saying, Dr. Tiana, when we were speaking about how I think, yeah, this was during the call when you were talking about how the emotionality of a child is very much connected to the emotionality of the mom, right? That is a mom also creating an environment because that has an impact on their child, right?
Right.
But the work starts with us and defining what do we want to create in this world. What do we want to create that is different? What do we want to create that we do not see? Right. And so it's giving ourselves the permission and the courage to
Yeah.
create something that we don't see.
No.
And once you
Tough.
step out and be courageous,
Mhm.
you're going to be looked at, oh, she's the courageous one. I'm going to follow her. because she looks like she know what she's talking about, and she's doing something different than what everybody doing, and so she sticks out. So I'm going to follow her because she looked like she's on assignment.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay,
absolutely right.
Right.
so you look like a woman on assignment,
Facts.
and people start to then you start developing that leadership.
Sure.
And people begin to follow you on your assignments. And
Absolutely.
that is where you create that creativity, right?
Love
And that transcends above you, beyond
Love
you, rather.
I love that so much. Woo, that's good. That's
So it
good.
all starts with us. Every
It all
individual
starts with
takes a
us.
step in the right direction.
Listen,
Right.
I don't care what you're doing. I do not care, but I know what I'm doing because I'm on an assignment. And you can either come with me or not. But I know where I'm going.
I feel. Yep.
My goodness.
Kelly is with you. She says, "How
Come on,
about
yes.
be different from the
Exactly.
erratic
Come on,
messages on
Kelly.
social media?"
We don't gotta be like everybody else. Shoot.
Yes. It's real. It's so real. And having the courage to kind of be counterculture is like it's everything.
Absolutely.
I'll never forget my dad. A few years back, we were talking about something, and I was going through something really hard at the time. And he called me and he said, "I don't know what you're going through, T." He said, "But what I'm going to tell you is don't go with the masses because the masses crucified Jesus."
Oof.
Never forget.
Come on.
Yeah, and it
Never forget.
wrecked me, like completely wrecked me, right? Because it was like I wasn't even sharing, right? Like what was going on. I was just like, I'm having a hard time, having a hard day. I probably was crying. I don't even remember, but like I just remember what he said to me, and it like I mean, it was like a lightning bolt, you know, like to my spirit of just like remember who you are, you know, and who you are. And so that really does change how you show up, like you said, Dr. J. And so passing that little nugget on to y'all today from my dad. All right. Now,
I love you, Pastor Roger.
So as we wrap up this conversation, right, y'all, what is
Sorry,
one?
Pastor Hall.
Yes.
I used your married name, Pastor Hall.
Oh, yes. He's definitely Hall.
Definitely Pastor Hall.
As we wrap up, y'all, what do you want? I feel like we should do another conversation about this topic. But we'll let y'all tell us if you feel like we should run this back a second time or go even a little bit deeper into it. Right. But as we wrap up, what is one thing that you all feel a high achieving woman should remember about ambition and regulation?
If your ambition requires you to stay in survival mode, then you're not really living.
That's good.
You're reacting.
Okay.
So, yeah, I say live.
Love that. Live. Okay. We got Penny. Penny just commented again. Let's see. She said the spiritual aspect of hustle culture definitely has money. We are chasing material things instead of
purpose.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yep. And you see that, Penny, that's so good. Oh, girl.
That's really good.
That's so good because, and you see it by the fruits, right? We all familiar with fruits of the spirit, right? You see it in the fruit. So when you see people constantly posting about what they have, look at this bag, look at these shoes, look at this house, look at this car, look at this, you know where the motivation comes from. And that whole love of money culture is a real thing, and it saturates our environment.
That's true.
It really does. And I can't wait until that's no longer popular.
Yeah.
Let's
get that to existence.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay, Roz, we see you, Roz. Hey, girl. Welcome back.
Hey.
I love that. All right. Who else wants to share their final words to our ambitious, lovely sisters out there?
Yeah, I think, just for high impact women, there's this this need they have, or this thought that they have, that there's the expectation of like excelling in multiple domains simultaneously. So I think what I want them to know is, when ambition becomes not just about the professional, it becomes this like existential necessity or existential obsession. That's when you know that it's become a priority that's overridden that internal value system of connectedness to self and connectedness to those around you who are most important to you. And I think that's where it's an opportunity, becomes an opportunity to look deeper inward and to re-anchor, as Dr. J said. So I call them to take that opportunity. They deserve it. They're worth it.
Amen.
Yes, you are worthy, wealthy, and worthy. Okay. All right, Dr. J, what you got?
Yes, I would say that you are not your ambition. As ambitious women, we are ambitious to acquire a thing, maybe a role, right? But there is something that we are aspiring to become, or something that we want to acquire. And it really comes back to the topic of identity. It's like, who are we really, right? If we were devoid of any ambition, if I strip your ambition away, can you tell me who you are?
Oh, wow.
Can you tell me who you are? And so it's recognizing to not place all of our emphasis and worthiness in what we were speaking of on your ambition, but to be grounded in your identity as a woman.
Come on, identity. Girl.
Yes.
Good. I love that. I love that. That's so good. That's so good. Okay, let me think. What would mine be?
Yes.
Okay, this one I use actually a lot in work settings. So take from it what you will. But my thing that I want you to remember is that you are a human being, not a human doer.
Love that.
Right?
I love that.
Remember that, because when you operate from the being, everything else shows up to meet you exactly where you are.
So
you
good.
don't have to work harder to be what you already are, with which is wealthy and worthy. All right, y'all. So that is how we're ending the show today. And we will be back again next Wednesday, same place, same time. And based on y'all's comments, we actually may go a little bit deeper into this topic.
Uh-oh, Kelly challenging us.
Go deeper into this topic.
Right?
You said go deeper.
And how do we do it, right? Like, we talked about some of the challenges, but maybe next week what we'll do is circle back with like how, right? How do we actually walk this thing out? And we can share some examples of the ways that we've done it. We can talk about some ways that we've advised our clients in doing it. And maybe even we'll tap a little bit on that identity piece that Dr. J mentioned, because I think that was really, really powerful and really gets to the root of what we're all seeking, and what I think I would love for all of you to be anchored in, right? That true identity of who you are when you're not productive, right? And so, listen, we love y'all. We appreciate all y'all being here as always every week. Y'all are tuning in and giving us love and letting us know that you are right here with us.
We'll be right back, Ron.
Yes.
Right? So she got home
already? Yeah, y'all.
Keep the people.
We appreciate y'all so much. So, again, we'll be back next week, same place, same time. In the meantime, go and check out wealthyandworthy.com or .org. I'm sorry. We are going to be meeting in community in person this August in Atlanta. All right. So we would love to see y'all. Grab your tickets. Early bird tickets are still on sale right now at 20% off. And so we would love to have y'all there in the room with us and just really having a sacred time together. So we'll see y'all again next week. Same place, same time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.